You can't take it with you when you're gone, so how do you make the most of it while you are here? It's time for Your Money Matters with Sam and Dieter from Harness Financial.
Oh yeah, just Dieter this morning actually. Sam's elsewhere. Don't forget, you can ring in, you can text in questions throughout the segment. You can ring in and ask questions of Dieter about your finances, and they are certified financial advisors, but you'll need to talk to them in greater detail if you want to act on any advice that you might receive this morning. Dieter, good morning to you. Lovely to see you.
Good morning. Really good to be here.
Okay, who have you bought? And who's that sitting next to you?
Well, someone with more hair than I have.
Everyone's
only just.
Come on, Dieter, everyone's got more hair than you have.
Oh, you haven't seen my ear hair. So we've got Dave Copson, who's the head of business development and advice at Booster.
Okay, what's Booster, Dave?
So we're a financial services provider, and we deal predominantly with financial advisors.
Yeah.
And we provide the funds for them to invest in.
All right.
Their clients.
All right. Okay. So you're going to talk tariffs, Dieter? Take it away.
Yeah, we just thought it's an opportune time to talk about the end of the world and the fact that tariff wars, we've got to sell everything, we've got to buy gold and maybe water and baked beans and hide it under our bed. And some might jump into crypto, which has also got a bit downwards. But we just thought, well, if that's the noise out there, then if we react to noise, then we generally end up in a pretty much worse situation. So, Dave, from your perspective, have you seen a lot of the noise and a lot of people reacting? And
Yeah, and it's just like any market cycle, we do see people, should we say, having a knee-jerk reaction to things that are being said or being done out there, and it's just a normal market cycle, though. So we spend a lot of time through people like yourself to make sure that clients aren't panicking too much at a time when it's just a cycle and things happen.
all right, so we should avoid that situation where we have the emotional investing plan where we buy high and sell low.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we deal with the noise out there? And as I was thinking of what we were talking about, there's really three kinds of investors that we're working with. The first one are the accumulators. So that is your KiwiSaver contributors, your managed fund contributors. Now, what is the huge advantage of them for this time of the market?
Yeah, so we would, I mean, our investment guys that put all our investments in place, they love this time of the market because they're buying what we call it a discount when the funds are starting to drop and prices are dropping. So the bonus for them is that they're contributing regularly, so they're actually buying now at a lower price. For when that bounce comes, they will then have more funds that they would have had prior if it had just stayed where it was.
All right, so basically shopping on Lambden Key on King's birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
Or every other holiday where
Correct.
there's sales coming out.
Yeah.
So when it comes to their strategy, just continually contribute, keep purchasing underpriced assets, and when the market turns, they're in a much stronger position.
Correct. So long as they've got the right plan and goal that they've talked about with their financial advisor and stick to that plan.
Now, the second group of people that we generally work with are people that have put in a lump sum and they're investing for the long term. So 10-year plus horizon. So what should they be doing at this time?
So again, it goes back to, and it's a similar sort of story, is that we want clients to invest for their goal, which, like you say, is long term. So the point is that the markets will come and go a little bit, but if you're invested in the right things through diversification, then that will just ride the markets out and it will do its job over that 10, 15-year period. Just let it do its job.
So let's touch on diversification because I'm working with a client at the moment who's got investments with a certain well-known provider, and analysing the portfolio, there were about 25 companies and about 15 different bonds, and it was very, very biased towards New Zealand, Australia. Do you see that as a good approach?
Yeah, look, I won't say that it's a bad approach, but what I'll say is if you are looking long term, you're looking at times like we're going through in the markets where there's a correction and things are happening, then further diversification in lots of different companies through a managed fund is going to help you mitigate that risk a little bit. So if you've got one or two companies that drop or in the same sort of industry, you're going to be hit quite hard with that. If you're diversified through industries, through different holdings, in a bigger diversification, you won't be as affected.
All right, so it's the old, you can, I always think rugby terms, you can ankle tap someone quite easily, but you can't ankle tap a millipede.
All right, look, the other thing with this tariff stuff, right, what is it we're exporting to the States? We're exporting dairy, meat and wine. But there are also, like, unintended consequences. I've seen talk that, well, if the Americans stop taking Canadian wine, and that's where the real tariff tension is, we could benefit because they'll want more Kiwi wine. There'll be a gap in the market. It's not all bad news, is it?
No, and at the moment, from what I've seen, the New Zealand dollar is pretty weak.
Yeah.
So, there's opportunities in there. Obviously, it'll be more expensive to buy stuff that we import, but it does make things more affordable overseas.
Yeah.
And there'll always be an opportunity arise from different things that happen, right? And when it settles down and the dust settles, there'll be ways for us to still export and be different ways to go, like you just said. So it's just letting the dust settle.
And Dita, if I've learned anything from you, it is have a plan, right? Have I got that right? Have a plan. You've got to have a plan. And a plan, if it's a long-term plan, right, to working towards the goal of, I remember when I first met you guys, what do you want your life to look like when you're into the working life? What do you want to have there? To a certain extent, that plan has to take account of fluctuations, and you can't kind of lose your bottle. You can't, chase every passing car and bark at every passing car, can you? You've got to say, there's always going to be fluctuations. There's always going to be tariff wars. You just got to stick to the plan.
And that's where the advice is really important, because when you aren't working anymore, you're listening to more news. And if you're not listening to the platform, you're listening to all sorts of
crazy stuff
out there. And then you think every day is the biggest thing in the world. So understanding that over the last 100 years, the S&P 500 has delivered 10% per annum on average. And that's been through wars, it's been through the share market crash. Everything you can imagine has happened. So stick to your plan. But also the most important thing to do, and that was the last group of clients I was looking at, is people who are drawing a retirement income. This should have been factored into the structure before they actually retired.
Right, okay.
Because we know there's no surprise.
Yeah.
So I always recommend having 2 years of your income in cash. And what I've done with my clients is when the market has these huge volatile moments, we just turn the tap off for the income and they use their cash over their time, and the market will pick up again. So like anything, if you're sailing a boat, you've got to have the different, but I'm not a sailor, but different sails for different wind conditions. And if you have that right, and if you know it's going to go on at some point, then...
And you trim your sails when you need them, and you put out more when the wind's blowing in your favour.
Yeah, but if you take out all your sails, then the tide will just take you in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's right. Or you become becalmed. Some suggestion too, guys, that we're coming out of recession technically, that things are going to change. Look, does that really make any difference in real people's lives and what you do?
Well, I mean, people talk about it,
Yep.
and it's noise, just like we talked about before. It doesn't really matter too much. It's all about being clever with your investments to make sure it doesn't get affected by those sorts of things too much. If we come out of a recession, the markets will, they're still bumpy now anyway because of everything going on. So you probably don't notice it so much, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, I've got a couple of questions here which I throw, and as always with these questions, often just people say, oh, the boys from Harness here, I just asked them a question. It's free advice. Someone's asking a question about whether or not you are allowed to cash up part of your KiwiSaver for medical expenses. Is that a thing or not?
No, not for medical expenses. You can apply for for a serious medical help.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hoops to jump to get that KiwiSaver out for that.
All right.
Yeah.
And someone else is suggesting that they have heard, or maybe they're suffering this, that their employer is docking their hourly pay rate to pay for the employer contribution for super. We ever heard of this? Do people do that?
I haven't come across it, but I think there's an overarching principle which I think isn't always understood. As a company, as a business, as this is, you have a certain amount of money that can go towards salaries.
Yeah.
Now, how you divvy that up? End of the day, the cost of company is limited by the revenue coming into that company, but there still needs to be an honest, transparent process with employees. What people sometimes see is the tax deducted off some of the contributions going in.
Yeah.
And that might look like it's that, but have a frank discussion and go, look, how does this work? Make sure you understand how it works with your employer. But communication is really important in that area.
Yeah. All right. Look, the other thing, just getting back to the tariff issue, We've also got maybe some good news. We got Luxon saying he's pretty sure he can do some sort of trade deal with India. That's a big and growing part of the world. It's not all doom and gloom, is it?
No, it's not. And if you think about what things that have been said, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of it when they settle on the tariffs. But also, you've also got to remember that a lot of businesses are in the States and in Europe as well, and they work, they have head offices in the States, but they're owned by European countries. So there's going to be a lot to go down the path yet of that sort of probably fallout from it as well. I don't think it's doom and gloom. No, I think, again, markets find a way.
All right.
Yeah.
Look, the other thing is, and you mentioned it, if you're not listening to the platform, you're getting a whole lot of stuff thrown at you. If you're going to give people advice as to what is significant for them to pay attention to in this world of media noise.
Well, a while back we had on that really excellent business coach, Mark Scully.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And he's often told me that he doesn't listen to the news at all.
Wow.
At all. And life doesn't change. He focuses on looking after his clients, focuses on their metrics.
Yeah.
And if something's really, really big, World War III, someone will tell him about it.
Okay. So as much as possible, switch off.
Switch off. And just don't make it your full consumption. I've been down the rabbit hole a few times where you focus on a specific topic and it becomes your entire world. So maintain balance, maintain relationships.
Yeah.
Focus on your community, your family around you. Make sure you have a good plan in place, but don't let it become your life.
I must admit, I'm increasingly doing this in my business. So what do you think about such and such? I said, well, I don't think about that because it's not actually my core purpose to think about that. I've got plenty of other things right in front of me that I do need to think about and that I might be able to affect. And I know that sounds strange for a journalist. I too have found, otherwise you'd go nuts.
Yeah. And I might add to that as well, that don't get caught up in the weeds. Let the professionals do the research. Let them do everything they need to do to actually try and do everything that your plan is going to bring to you later on in life.
Yeah. Don't let your emotions, I know it's a modern concept that your reality is defined by your emotions.
Yep.
That's not often a good approach. So, and the same approach to investing, don't let your emotions make your decisions.
Yeah.
And never make a decision under stress.
Yeah.
Slow down, get professional advice, speak to someone. It doesn't have to be us. Just speak to someone who is in the know and knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And just get a reality check.
I made a bad stress decision last night. I'm trying to sell and swap cars before I go to Israel. It's not going to work. I left a door ajar on the car last night. Guys pick it up, but I went to get it this morning. Battery was flat. I had to get an Uber and messes up my whole day. I've got to be at the airport at 12:30 to check in for this flight to Tel Aviv. And that was because I thought, let's get it all done. I didn't go, maybe just need to zone out for a bit.
Yeah, it's the old very important theory. Focus on the important and not always the urgent.
Mm. So we shouldn't be, has your phone been ringing out with people? I need to say, change my plan. There's a trade war. Everything's tending to, okay, good.
Keep the ships battened down. Stay focused on the goal. Make sure you've got risk mitigation. So that in that medical question earlier, make sure you have a good medical insurance plan in place.
Yeah.
You can't, it's like the old idea of you can't get a will in place after you died.
Yeah. And someone has just written and said, yes, many employers essentially dock the employee's contribution one's total employment package, a long-standing practice, often but not particularly well discussed. Interesting that. The person who's written to me says, I'm 68. How long is the long-term plan? I have KiwiSaver and investment. Well, I don't know. If you want to talk about your plan, Dieter's the best guy to talk to. How does he get hold of you, Dieter?
Well, you can go to our website, www.harnessfinancial.co.nz, or call me directly on 0210 268 7955.
Right, where's your offsider? Where's Sam today?
He is on his way up to Auckland to see a number of businesses.
Yeah.
And looking at group business insurance plans.
Which I know I've got to get onto, but I've had we've had some staff fluctuations, so trying to nail that. 6 people for that plan, isn't it? 6 people?
5.
Oh, I think we can still get there then.
Well, yeah, I think we can probably get there. But and again, and I'm not at the insurance head, but it's a huge opportunity for business owners to get all existing things removed, any exclusions removed, full cover,
Yeah.
That's just an amazing product.
All right. Okay, Sean, it is commonplace that your gross hourly rate includes the company contribution to superannuation. It is in the contract that you either accept or don't. I haven't got that in the contracts. My staff have got. I pay you and I pay the... sorry. Yeah, odd.
But you do pay them in wine, so that's...
That's quite right. Look, guys, I feel quite reassured having talked to you now. I don't feel quite as bad about the word, and I've got my head slightly elsewhere as I think about whether or not there's going to be missiles flying by the time I get to Tel Aviv. But I love the message you're telling us, and that is stay calm and have a plan. Stick to the plan. Don't worry too much about what you call the noise, and I think that's a very good way to put it. As always, guys, hang on. Sean, I'm getting old and my life insurance keeps rising. Am I better to cancel this and put that money into my Kiwi saver or pay off the mortgage?
No, I've just got to be very just general in the spaces.
General, yep, okay, yep.
But basically, insurance and life insurance is there for a purpose. So you first need to go back and understand what was the purpose it was serving. Now, if that purpose is no longer there, then why do you have it? So what you should have is a wealth accumulation plan that eventually makes your insurances less necessary. And so there's a tipping point where the assets are enough to suffice. Have your health insurance in place, but go back to the reason why you have it. And there are ways of reducing it. And that's where you can speak to Sam and look at excess options, etc.
Yeah.
Or not excess in that one, but just ways of what do you actually need? What is the right amount? You might have too much.
Yeah. All right. Hey, guys, thank you very much. That's been a good sesh. That's Dave Copson, Head of Business Development Advice at Boost, and our good mate Dieter from Harness. We'll see you in a couple of weeks when I'm back, hopefully in one piece from Israel.
Your Money Matters with Sam and Dieter from Harness Financial. To make the most out of your money, visit harnessfinancial.co.nz.